Welcome to Truth Talk Live.
All right, let's talk.
The truth is,
He's the Christian AI guy. Brian, he's on right now.
A daily
AI
program
change-
powered by the Truth Network,
This is kind of a great thing, and I'll tell you why.
where pop culture, current events, and theology all come together.
Speak.
Your mind.
And now, here's today's Truth Talk Live host.
He is the Christian AI guy, and he's sitting across the table from me. And some of you think, man, Christian AI, that's an oxymoron. I mean, this stuff is subversive, and it's creating all kinds of things and ruining all kinds of lives. But Brian Lambert, you wrote a whole book called The AI Lead, and this thing is taken off. You're speaking at conferences. You're a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, and you're using this thing to change the world. How can this be, my friend?
Well, you start small and you follow God's lead. You know, whatever He says, whatever He needs you to do, you can do it. And all things through Christ, right?
Yeah, let's go open that mic there. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, so you start small, and you what now?
Oh, just take one step at a time and follow God's lead. Follow God's lead. He has a calling for you. And this is my calling right now. So I'm going to step out in it, learn what I can, and see what God has in store for me.
This AI scares a lot of people because they don't know what's real, what's fake. It takes the idea of plagiarism, college academics, everything to a whole nother level. A lot of people are concerned. Some folks are saying that, pastors are generating their sermons with AI now, and that could be good, that could be bad. To give us the bad news first, and we're going to spend a lot of time on the good news, okay?
Absolutely. And God, it's one of those things where God can redeem everything, right? Even artificial intelligence. One of the things that I've seen and heard about is people are struggling with what AI can do and what the challenge is. And one of the things that's a challenge is, where does AI get its information from? What is it saying? Is it using my private information? Is it using something that perhaps I don't even know about? And more importantly, are people using it to do good or do harm? And so when you think about a pastor using AI, well, is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? One of the things that I would ask is, well, what are they using it for? We all use AI in our daily lives right now. We might not even know it.
Okay, how's that? Like an example.
Well, if we use GPS to drive around,
Right.
If we use Netflix to find what's valuable and what we want to watch, right now, even when you order at McDonald's, AI is driving a lot of that experience for you. Airbnb is driven by AI. The things that we do on a daily basis, a lot of it is powered by AI, and we don't even realize it. Things that make our lives easier, make our lives better, and also serve us in ways that we probably never even realized we needed.
Yeah. And I want to hear, listeners may have a question about AI.
Absolutely.
If you have a question, or if you are using AI to generate a question, we'll take those as well. And you may already get the answer from AI. And maybe no one will call today because they're going to ask their AI bot the question and get the answer. They're like, I don't need to call Stu Show, Truth Talk Live. But we'd love to hear from some folks, especially as it comes to better reaching our world with the gospel. I mean, you imagine the power using this to translate something into another language, using this to better effectively communicate something. It hit you like a ton of bricks on your way to a very important service, memorial service at the gravesite. I want you to tell that story in just a second. In fact, we'll tease that, and we'll come back after the break with this powerful story about it impacted your life to lead you to what you're doing now. Brian Lambert, author of The AI Lead. He's with us right now on Truth Talk Live. I'm Stu Epperson. You want to phone in, the toll-free number nationwide when we're live. We play this back a lot of times on our Truth Talk Best Of. It's 866-34-TRUTH, 866-348-7884. Question about AI. And we got a caller on the line. Let's jump there. Jamal, a caller from North Carolina. You're on Truth Talk Live with Stu, and Brian, the Christian AI guy.
Hey, Stu, hope you're doing well. Always a pleasure. Thank you for taking my call. Question I have is, it might be a two-parter. How can we tell if a sermon or a college dissertation or even a video is AI or not?
Great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. And we have to use our intuition a lot of times. I mean, AI is getting better and better and better. There's been a new release of video capabilities just yesterday from a big AI company called OpenAI. Their ability to create full-length movies is amazing. There is a lot being generated right now, from websites to blogging to articles to movies. And that's really what the promise of AI is the ability to generate that. As far as telling whether or not it's real or not, you have to use discernment. You can actually see in some of the early cases of AI that the hands might be out of place, their facial features might not be right, the things that you see on the images just don't look right, a lot of misspellings. But as it gets better and better and better, you're going to have to really think about what the message is more than what it looks like. As far as thinking about the actual plagiarism or the use of AI to create content, the written word, there are AI detectors now that many schools are using to actually detect if it's been AI generated. There's the way, because it's written by an algorithm, you can tell. But interestingly enough, there are many cases, and I think it's in Wisconsin or Maryland, where AI is actually fully embraced in the classroom, and teachers are encouraging its use in order to move the learning forward, because AI has the ability to personalize and tailor everything it produces. So it's really hard to tell. You have to use discernment. You can also see where it's coming from and who's producing it. And then secondly is think about it, is it really a bad thing? And I think that's where a lot of companies are heading, is the ability to say, okay, look, AI is trained on a data set. AI is built off of algorithms. Can we produce things faster? Can we produce things better? Can we produce things that are more relevant to people? And if the answer to that is yes, then where's the harm?
So Jamal, and I'm glad you called and asked this question today when I have Brian Lambert, the Christian AI guy, here, because he's the guy I call and I deflect all these questions on. But if I want to ask this, Brian and Jamal, to answer your question, and he did a better job of this, but just to top on that, there are programs that teachers, like college professors, have that are AI driven, that recognize if a student uses AI.
That's right.
So Little Cub, who's a freshman in college, she's actually come across this. They know this. The kids know more about AI than the adults do. So they have countermeasures. That way they can detect and prevent when it's not appropriate. And they actually have assignments to say, use all the AI you want. They just want kids to be thinking, Jamal, what a call. Thank you for calling in, my friend.
Thank you. Take care.
God bless you. It's an all AI hour on Truth Talk Live. No, I'm not a bot. I'm a real person, Brian.
He is real, live in the flesh with his Truth Network sweater on.
How about that? We'll come back with more questions. It all happened at a funeral that changed this guy's life and got him into AI. The Christian AI guy, and more of your calls and questions after this on Truth Talk Live. He is the Christian AI guy, and I just pop it on my story here on Instagram. His information, his MO, a little video I did. Brian Lambert, everything changed for you when, was it your father that passed?
Yes.
Okay, so our dads are in heaven together.
Amen.
And you were in a situation with AI. Come on, tell us what happened.
Yeah, I was heading to the funeral, the gravesite, and got the notification about 2 minutes before the service was supposed to start that the pastor couldn't make it, and they asked me to say a few words, and I went to OpenAI, my Chat GPT instance at that moment, and prayed about it. I prayed before I put in the chat bot, said, Lord, help me. I need to give a couple of minutes at my father's funeral. I'd like to do Psalm 23. I'd like to do a call and response. And I had another verse in there that's slipping my mind right now. But and I said, I'd like to lead this and read it. And it spit it out. And I skimmed it real quick, and I went up there and I did it. And the thing about AI in that instance is to realize what's powering the AI. AI is built on data. In this case, all the Bible is in there. I've built bots that are just the Bible, and you can interact with the Bible through a bot. And so understanding that the Bible's in ChatGPT, and actually there are many translations of the Bible and other religious texts in ChatGPT, but it gave me all the sources. It gave me it gave me Psalm 23. It told me how to read it. It told me where to pause. It told me what to wait for the call and response, what to read back. And I just followed through with it, and I trusted it in that moment.
It timed out just right.
That's right. Timed out
That is
just right,
something.
and I looked up and everybody was crying.
Wow.
That's
That
what
is
I
something.
said.
They were crying, you were AIing, but it was all the Lord's work.
That's right. And then we went to lunch.
And then you went to lunch. But celebrating, obviously, your dad and kind of helping you kind of pull it together. One of those
right.
situations where you're like, hey, here's the framework. Here's the key scriptures, but then kind of help me craft this
That's right.
in the most edifying way. And that's really a redemptive way of using it. Now, someone may disagree if you think it's just, kind of a cop-out or whatever your criticism is. Hey, we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
866-34-TRUTH is our toll-free number nationwide on Truth Talk Live, 866-348-7884. The Christian AI guy, the author of The AI Lead, a great book. He's been asked to speak all over the country. He's done conferences. You've hosted conferences. You're about to launch a detangler kind of AI minute on the Truth Network with these little nuggets in there to help people through this. And hopefully you're about to get more healthy. Have I ever given you one of these Vine-tastics?
Oh, thank you so much.
So that's for, who's the health nut in your family? Who really cares about their health?
Yeah, my wife, Donna.
Okay, because folks, some of you are like, I'm going to keep eating drinking the sugar drinks and eating the fatty foods and all that, and that's fine. But at some point, you got to recognize that your body is the temple, right?
Amen.
So take that to Donna, or you wash it down right now if you want. I've got some here. We're just grateful. Just a quick shout out. This segment of Truth Talk Live and Truth Talk is brought to you by our friends at Mighty Muscadine and the Blue Ultra Pure Water, who have offered this brand new beverage called Vinetastic.com.
Amazing.
Vinetastic, you can see on there, it says there on the label, no sugar, no calories, no carbs, no artificial sweeteners, but over 300 parts per million of antioxidant polyphenols in every bottle, which means it's healthy, and God designed our bodies to respond well to positive health incoming fluids in this case. And so Vinetastic.com, thank you. Information is there, and they also have offered a promo code, which is TRUTH, for those of you interested in getting this and keeping yourself healthy
That's
in
right.
the body. The temple.
It's got to be good if it says shake well before use.
That's right, yeah. And, the over 136 million plus pre-diabetics or diabetics in America. So that's why this is a positive alternative
That's
to
right.
help folks struggling with that.
It tastes great,
We
too.
got Dayton, Ohio. We are talking to the Christian AI guy. His name is Brian Lambert. Graciously, he's come on the show to help us navigate through this new maze and matrix. There, you would be amazed at the things you see on social, you see on TV that are completely AI generated, and you're thinking that is just wow. And they're Bible apps. You can ask the toughest question you've ever. How did Cain get his wife? Were there dinosaurs on the ark? The guys like me that are hosts, can you ask that question? I can push mute on the mic, and in 2.5 seconds, I get an answer to it right there on my phone. But you want to make sure your source, the input. There's other things really. There's some guardrails we want to get into more. And we're going to talk about all your 7 employees who are all bots, Brian, but we'll do that in the next segment. First, we got to talk to Matthew. Matthew, thanks for hanging on. You're on the show.
Hey, guys. I just tuned in, so I didn't get the whole conversation, and so I'm not sure if what I'm about to say is completely relevant, but I am an educator in high school, and, I see technology as a tool. It's not an enemy. It's not a savior. It's just a tool. And I see what is at risk, though, is that if we allow students, high school, college, to use AI without, some guardrails and guidelines, and particularly, then what is at risk is their ability to think. And I know in the work world, maybe employers aren't concerned about their employees thinking. What they may want is just productivity. And so I think that might be the push. But I don't think that is the primary purpose of education. I think the primary purpose of education, from my perspective, is to help students to think in a godly perspective.
Yeah,
Not
I
all
love
my
that.
students are going to think that way.
I like Matthew.
do want them to-
I like what he's saying.
Absolutely. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
Matthew.
finish your thought, Matthew. Then we'll get Brian to chime in.
Yeah, well, I'd like my students also, they won't all think in a godly way, but to be able to think through something logically.
Mm-hmm.
And any time that you're writing, you're giving yourself the opportunity to develop your thinking process. Even at the beginning where you're trying to generate a topic, part of that process is thinking through a topic, not just going to the internet and asking for a topic.
Yeah.
And so kids, the more we have technology to do our reading for us, to do our writing for us, we're going to develop a society that doesn't think. And then at some point, they won't even know that they're not thinking.
Yeah, and what about that? I mean, at what point does this become crippling, Brian? Does this short circuit? I mean, I love a teacher that, and by the way, we love all our teachers. You guys are frontline warriors. You are mentors,
Absolutely.
coaches. You are disciplinarians. You're amazing. But what about Matthew's concern? I mean, AI, the AI guy, Christian AI guy, what are you thinking here, man?
Yeah, it's a legit concern. Absolutely. We don't want to outsource our thinking to a computer, to artificial intelligence. I mean, A is artificial. AI is the word A is artificial. And so outsourcing your thinking to an artificial intelligence is not what is a good idea. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. The interesting thing about AI and generative AI, the ability to generate things, is I think when people first explored it, they looked at it as do this for me, do that for me, produce this for me, produce that for me. And the real epiphany that I had was instead of looking at it as an outputter, if you will, using it as an inputter to get inputs, to get the right inputs, to get more inputs to help me with my critical thinking.
Matthew from Dayton, a stellar question. Matthew, stay tuned. We'll deal with more of this on the other side of the break. Those of you who listen online, if you can, or at one of our apps, if the station you're listening to leaves this regular programming, he's the Christian AI guy, and this will be a podcast later on. Subscribe to our channel. The crippling effects and the beneficial testimonies of it. More when we come back on Truth Talk Live. Hang on. It's an all things AI hour here on Truth Talk Live. I'm Stu Epperson. No, I am not a bot. And no, these voice liners, bumper stingers are not AI generated, but yes, we're looking into it even during the break, Brian. What I ask you, how can we make this better, right?
How can we make it better? What can AI do?
What can AI do? How can we better encourage you? How can we better design things for our wonderful producers like Grayson, who's in the hot seat today taking care of me, St. Nick, who's here, going to be back here tomorrow. AI, artificial intelligence, is really taking a lot of things over. Some of the ads you see on TV that here on the radio are AI generated, and there's some great stuff, but there's also some guardrails. Matthew, wonderful caller from Dayton, Ohio, 106.5 FM. Thank you, Matthew, and we hope everyone in Dayton's enjoying this wonderful station there in the Greenville, Dayton area. It reaches all the way to the suburbs of Cincinnati, all the way into the edge of Indiana, and 106.5 FM, Toledo, Ohio. Also, big shout out to our friends listening. My buddy Mark listening on 93.7 FM up in Lynchburg, Virginia. So many listeners to this show. We're so grateful for you guys and your prayers for this ongoing ministry as we navigate AI today with the Christian AI guy. Most crazy AI story, most crazy AI abuse. Like, what's something that there were no guardrails per Matthew's concern? Brian, what say you? What's an example?
Well, an example would be creating a deep fake. That a deep fake is a term you can look it up, but impersonating a CEO. CEO called in to a board meeting and authorized spend with a fake artificial voice. It was not the real CEO. It was an AI CEO. And they spent lots of money with somebody that didn't exist. And it was a quote-unquote approved by the CEO. Yeah. So there are real concerns, privacy concerns, legal concerns, cybersecurity concerns. AI, as good as it can also be a negative with cybersecurity leaders who are trying to keep us safe from the bad guys.
Yeah.
And AI, the bad guys have AI too.
And you see those messages that are thankfully public service announcements to warn parents. You get a phone call and it's your daughter's voice. Hey, I need $1,000 right now.
That's right.
Or they're going to kill me.
Right.
And it sounds like her. They've somehow captured her voice from another place where they go in and harvest voices like that, either a spam call where she said too much on in the recording.
Right.
And then people end up getting, burned, right, Brian, from this stuff.
That's right. Even now you're seeing it. I just saw yesterday an interview where an AI was actually being interviewed for a job. This person was supposed to be interviewing, but put the AI in place of him. And the recruiter was like, "This something's weird." Asked him to put his video on, and he wouldn't. And come to find out, it was an AI bot trying to go through the interview process to get a job for somebody.
Isn't that something?
And
Wow.
yeah, that it has the ability to start doing that now. We have to really be diligent, and we have to really be discerning, and not be afraid to ask these questions. Like, for example, what content are you trained on? Can you put your video on? Where did this come from? Because just like anything, AI is a human invention. It can be used for good, and it can be used for bad.
And if you have a question, good, bad, or ugly, about AI, how to use it, how maybe you've been a victim of a horror story, or maybe it helped you stumble upon a really good verse in a time of need, like it happened with Brian preaching at his dad's graveside service, you can call us right now, 866-34-TRUTH. 866-348-7884 is our toll-free number nationwide when we're live on Truth Talk Live. On the weekends, Truth Talk, just ignore the number and listen and be encouraged. But call in if you'd like to, because this is a really good day. If you ever had a question about AI, when I get together with this guy, it's nonstop action. I mean, we're with Jeff, our awesome Truth Network leader, ambassador in Charlotte and Greenville, and we're talking to him about all kinds of things. And how do you generate, positive messages for the Lord? How do you use AI to avoid things, avoid pitfalls? Maybe you're stuck. Maybe you're using it already, like with GPS. So it's already there, Brian. But what are some things that in your book, The AI Lead, which I encourage everyone to get that book. How do they find it, by the way?
Anywhere books are sold, or you can go to my website, aileadbook.com.
Okay, AI Lead Book. Okay. Now, it's a heavy book.
It is.
But it's not AI-led book, even though it's spelled the same way. It's AI Lead Book. Brian, what would you say, practically speaking, to people out there who have their doubts, skeptics? We got some AI agnostics out there everywhere, including myself in some ways. What would you say to allay our fears and to give us some hope that, it can really help?
Well, I think, you look at it both ways, and I think we have to be discerning and pragmatic. There is the good and the bad side, as we're exploring today. Ever since the dawn of humanity, there's been this battle of good and evil. These things are tools. Every advance of technology has been in the image of man, not in the image of God. We can be his instrument, but AI is man-made. It is designed to model human behavior, but it isn't human. It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have human rights. It's an AI computer. It's a bot. We have to remember these things. Yet it's being programmed to be appear to be very empathetic, to be very emotive, to be smart. I mean, the AI is very smart. You would be surprised, and perhaps not, how much math it can do in a millisecond. It is crazy. It is crazy how much it can handle. And so when you look at it from that way, I think it comes down to us. And that's why I encourage this conversation while it's early in the AI space to say, as humans, what's our role in this? As believers, what's our role in this? And get involved, because AI needs to be trained in ways that is ethical. AI needs to be, we need to have these conversations about what's happening in our workplaces with AI, who's using it, what are the guardrails, where is it getting its content from, how does it keep employees safe, how does it keep us from harm, doing self-harm. These types of things are important, because the amount of money that's being spent, the amount of effort that's being put into it, the amount of vendors, the amount of hype, all of that really requires a discerning approach.
Okay, so if we kind of start to work through the weeds of ethics, okay, a big word when it comes to AI, is there any off button? In other words, if someone asks AI, let me just use a random example. I'm not thinking about doing this, but someone says, I want to rob a bank. And they give specific coordinates. They give specific places. I need the most effective. I want to be the most brilliant bank robber guy. Show me how to get in there and get all the money and get out, without getting arrested and without ever getting caught. Is that possible? Or at some point AI saying, no, this is an immoral, illegal
That's
deal?
right. It will tell you that that's highly illegal, and it will not help you.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Okay,
so
good.
there are those kinds of guardrails.
You could get into all kinds of malicious. I mean, I'm
Right.
talking like murder, arson. You could get into all kinds of things.
Right. They'll stay away from that. And
Okay.
so what we have to realize is if you look at the power outlet on the wall, everybody, that's driving, or your outlet in your car, what you're plugging into, that is AI. AI is like electricity. You can plug into it, and it does a lot of the numbers, the crunching, the generative piece of it. But what are you plugging into it? Are you plugging in a blender? Are you plugging in, a vacuum cleaner? What tools are you using? And that's what AI is doing, is it's the electrical source of the digital age. So you can plug into these models, and there are many different models. I'd say there are about 100 of them. But those hundreds of models that took trillions of dollars to train do have ethical, legal guardrails, and they are publishing. The companies that are creating these models are publishing what they did to train, how they went about training it. They're hiring new jobs like AI ethics, AI governance. There's a lot of legal scrutiny on these models. And I think that's important for people to realize that there is not a huge amount, they're not a proliferation of thousands of models. These platform models, there's very limited set because they're so expensive.
Okay.
And so on those limited models, there are guardrails.
So the staff of the bank could say, hey, use AI to say, give me the most ironclad, secure, absolutely robust security system for this bank so that it's impenetrable. In other words, in less than 2 seconds, AI could go in to the cyberspace and explore, unpack, pick apart every bank robbery that's ever happened, and then in the same amount of time, come back with a 10-page or 2-page or 10-sentence or however long you ask it in the prompt of an ironclad security detail for that bank security team to bone up on their security. Is that realistic?
Well, no. I would say that can only be realistic in a specific use case where you are perhaps a security company and you're investing in the ability to create that as a business, which means that you're still using that model, that electrical outlet, if you will, but you've also built your own processes and procedures to handle, for example, floor plans and stuff like that.
So at some point it's free,
right? AI,
but then you start to. People have told me they use the Chat GPT. And they're not paying for it. They're asking questions like, how many colors are in the spectrum, and they're having fun, or they're maybe saying, hey, what's a good memo to send my team of 50 employees just to give them a couple scriptures and a blessed Easter weekend, and have a good Friday.
Or hey, it's
day
Valentine's Day. What love letters should I write to my significant
There you
other?
go. And then it can generate that in seconds, right? And you could say, take this out and do this and make it better, and then seconds later it's there. But then there's you get a notification that, hey, you're going to have to start paying, right? So talk about the paid versus the free. We got to take a quick break. We'll come back, and we'll talk to the only man I've ever met who has nearly 10 employees, but only one of them is human, and I'm looking at him. He is the Christian AI guy. We may even sneak in a couple calls at 866-34-TRUTH. On the other side of this break, I'm Stu Epperson. This is Truth Talk Live. Don't go away. What is AI? Where did it come from? And is it going to make my life more crazy, or is it here to make my life better? And most importantly, how can we use it to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ all over the world? So we got AI skeptics listening. We got AI pros listening. I mean, I've got a guy that I had coffee with after I met with you because you kind of blew my mind. So I had to say, is this for real? Is this Brian Lambert? Is this Christian AI guy who just wrote the new book, The AI Lead? Is he real? And he said, Stu, he's real. And let me tell you something. You could do some great things, and you could really make a difference at the Truth Network if you properly use it. Brian Lambert, you've been one of the positive folks, even though there's a lot of negative too. But why are you so positive? Why are you so optimistic? And then I want to ask you about all your employees of your company.
Yeah, great question. Because to me, AI, when I looked at it, and when I've been in the space for a while and I understand where it came from, it's not brand new. It's an extension of a lot of different computer technologies. When I look at it and the ability to generate something and have it actually output, it becomes an amplifier of humans, an empower of humans, a tool that humans can use. Just like the printing press, when it first came out, look at what it did for spreading the message in the Bible.
We have Bibles today because of that.
That's right. So when I looked at it in that regard, I said, well, the sky's the limit here. I honestly believe that AI will help us put a person on Mars. I think AI is going to help us cure cancer. AI has the ability to go through, and they benchmark AI. For example, there are math problems in today's computer power of what you have on your laptop right now, Stu, that they'll give it a problem, and it will take thousands of years for that computer to solve that problem, literally thousands, tens of thousands of years for that computer. They've got a benchmark. AI can do it in less than 2 minutes, where your laptop can do it in tens of thousands of years. So the computing power, that's why you're seeing so much news about building data centers and all of this infrastructure. When you think about that much computing power, that many algorithms, that many decimal points, that much math going on in thinking about what it can do for good, whether it's poverty, helping people with their farming. Beekeeping is using AI for patterns of bees. You can use it in so many different ways. It really becomes an empowering tool if you look at it that way. And I think as humans, we have the ability to discern that. We have to understand that AI is built by man. It is built by scientists. It's built by computers. It is running on a machine. And we have a real responsibility to realize that it needs ethical guidelines. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have a soul. And I think when we look at it in that regard, we can wield it as a tool for good. And that's what I wanted to do.
Talk about your journey of faith. I mean, you shared earlier the powerful story of the preacher not being able to get to the graveside service to do your father's final words, there from the graveside. So you used AI, and God really blessed that. Everyone go listen to this whole thing and hear Brian's testimony earlier. It's powerful. But what about, talk about how you came to know the Lord personally, and then how you kind of got AI, how you see that as a growth. You actually see it as a way to help you grow in Christ. You have accountability partners that call you.
That's right. Yeah, I have the ability through my technology and through my bots to have it check in on me, to debate with me, to challenge my thinking. I use AI as an input source for me. I can have it take on different perspectives and challenge my thinking and debate and, forces my critical thinking. So I use it for that. When it comes to recognizing the times that we're in, I frame it out as when farmers came out of the farms and went into the industrial age, that took 3 generations, 4 generations for the agrarian age to become the industrial age. 2 years ago, we started the AI age. When ChatGPT came out and we could type in and get something back, it could generate an answer and we could have a debate with it. 2 years ago, that line is now, the industrial age is over. It is done. And we are in a time right now, you and I, Stu, our children are going to see not 3 generations of transition. We're going to see it in one single lifetime. And that is very tumultuous. It is a tectonic shift. And when there's going to be uprising, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be people second guessing their jobs. There's going to be people that are wondering if they're going to get their job outsourced. All of this fear. I say, look, every invention, every time such as this, we have an ability as Christians to lean into that and be light and to give people hope that this can be figured out. We've done it since, the Garden of Eden.
So people won't necessarily lose their jobs, but they still need to be aware of this stuff.
Well, I think for every job that does get disrupted, there will be new jobs. And I'm seeing them right now. I have people calling me for jobs that didn't exist 2 years ago in AI ethics, in prompt engineering, in managing a team of bots, in developing data strategies that AI can sit on top of. These are brand new jobs that didn't exist.
And you've hired how many employees at your firm? Tell this is remarkable. Listen to this.
I have 7 employees. They're all digital. They work all the time.
They're all bots. You name them.
Yeah, I name them. I have Hope. I have Ada. I have Cade. I have Liam.
Wow. And they do what?
Well, one of them is a content bot that helps me with courses because I do a lot of structured seminars and courses, so it helps me with instructional design. Another one is a messaging, a marketing bot that helps me with my social media, that helps me with my website. We actually run a lot through that for messaging. Another one is an analytical tool that helps me understand how to build out consulting roadmaps with people, given where they are in their organization. It's like a consultant that I can partner with to figure out tough, complex challenges. I have another one that I built that's for my son, and he's into anime. And his bot has Japanese influence, but it's also got a lot of dadisms in it, a lot of things that I want to impress upon him and keep him motivated around. So when he checks in every morning, it's not only something that he likes, but hopefully I'm showing up and God is showing up through that because I do have, the New Testament in there and I give him some Proverbs, et cetera, through his bot. So it's his friend, so to speak. And it's a way to say, look, let me check this before I go out there. And it's giving him confidence to have this tool in his pocket. I call it a right-hand bot. The ability to have this right-hand bot that helps you do anything, and you can build custom bots today for really, really cheap, and that's what I help people do.
And you can have a bot that calls you every morning and says, "Hey, here's your scripture reading for the day."
Yeah,
and you can even make it in your own voice. Talk about that. That's bizarre.
Yeah, I hosted an event. Actually, we have one in Minneapolis coming up next month. So you can call a phone number, and you could hear me.
You answer your own phone.
Yeah, my kids didn't know who it was. They thought it was really me because the AI, you can train it to be very emotive and have voice inflection. And I was playing with it. So we did switch it to another voice. But that's another part about AI. You can switch the voice if you don't like it, which I think is funny because I didn't like my voice. I said, let's put another one on. But, you basically give it knowledge. The AI has the ability to go into that knowledge, in this case about an event, and tell you who's speaking, what the speaking spots are, where the event is located, directions to the event, what the Wi-Fi password is, by you just asking it questions. And that is powered by an AI large language model, and you're calling into it. It even can go into an outbound and transfer the call to you, Stu, and you could take over from there.
And you'll go speak at churches. You'll go do seminars for companies about learning AI. Take your book with you. What's the information they can learn more about how to reach you?
Yeah, at drbrianlambert.com, or at the URL is AILeadbook.com. You can check out the book AI Lead anywhere books are sold. It's won 8 book awards internationally. It's on Amazon bestseller list. The reason why it's so important is it's a very foundational book. It talks about the data. There's a whole chapter on ethics and governance. There's a whole chapter on the impact of people to organizations, to teams, and then there is some on technology. But I think as we go into this AI age, we all need to be a little bit more technical to understand how these things work.
Last most important question. How can we reach more souls with the good news of Jesus Christ with AI? Give us a bold battle call, will you?
I'd say realize that you can amplify your spiritual gift through AI. If you look at it as I have the gift of service, AI can help you serve better. If you have the gift of evangelism, AI can help you with that. You can actually build it out in such a way that it actually is an extension of how you would go about things, and it can help you get those things done. If you're in an actual organization, it can help you with processes. It can help you with back office administrative stuff. So it frees you up so you can spend more time with your church, with your people, and out and about instead of doing administrative tasks, for example.
Wow. He is the Christian AI guy. He's been with us all hour long. drbrianlambert.com.
That's right.
Okay. And the book, and how to get the book one more time.
The AILeadbook.com.
Okay. The AILeadbook.com. The AI Lead is his book, and it's really in demand because people want to know how this stuff works. But they also don't want to lose their family over it, and they don't want to get in trouble in their academics, and they don't want to use shortcuts or shortchange their thinking process, right?
That's right. Yeah, don't outsource your thinking. Use it as an input to how you think. I tell people we had a really rough election season. Ask AI, why do people vote for that other candidate? Ask AI, and you'll be surprised what you could learn by taking an alternate perspective from an AI bot.
Yeah, and there are all kinds of ways to, like, how can I be on my game when I go home from this radio show with my wife to better love and serve her.
That's right. Here's what her gifts are. Here's what she's really passionate about. Give me some ideas on some things I can say, some things that we can do together. Give me some verses that we can read together. Stu, when I was coming up here, I had a bit of a drive, and I was role playing with my AI voice bot on the way up here.
How about that?
And didn't have the Stu-isms.
Well, I was going to say it's tough to replace the host here, but hey, well, how about but also how about making sure that we go to God first and not AI in prayer? I mean, that's something we don't ever want to short circuit.
That's right. AI doesn't have a soul. We can't outsource our humanness. We're made in the image of God. AI is not. It will never have what we have for that spark and that spirit that lives within us.
Yeah, Holy Spirit. AI is not the scripture. AI is not your God, but maybe use it as another tool to reach people and to grow closer to the Lord. Thank you, Brian Lambert.